Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head down to Berkshire in England once again, and we've got really quite a new brewery as far as I can gather, so definitely looking forward to this one. Always cool to try new beers from new places. So this time we are going to go to Elusive Brewing and we're having a taste of their Plan B, which is a Belgian pale ale, and it comes in at 3.7%, so it should be quite nice. This one is so new that it doesn't actually have an overall rating on Rate Beer at the time of filming, but the reviews that were on there were quite positive, so definitely looking forward to trying this one, and I hope you guys enjoy the review as well. Since it's an English beer, a special shout out of course to Harry at Blue Nose Beer Reviews, Dean at Dean's Beer Reviews, and also Craig at Kent Beer Reviews. They'll probably be able to keep you more up to date with the goings on in the English craft beer scene than I can, of course. I spend most of my time either in Scotland or Sweden and sometimes Japan as well, so make sure you check out their channels. Really nice guys, and they've got a lot of good videos going on there. So yeah, anyway, as is usual with my beer reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews in the future that hopefully I can do from Elusive Brewing. Very first time I'm trying one of their beers, like I said. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do subscribe to the channel. The whole channel of course has a geography based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city or state, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one for all the English beers that I've reviewed, and it's constantly being added to. Do check out the whiskey and sake reviews as well, and as always please get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. Always interesting to hear from you guys, and the support you give the channel is always hugely appreciated. So anyway, a little bit about Elusive Brewing then. So Elusive Brewing are based in Finchampstead in Berkshire in the southeast of England, which is also of course home to Siren Craft Brew, probably one of England's best known craft breweries at the moment in fact. But this brewery was founded in spring 2016 by Andy Parker, who had previously participated in many collaboration brews in the local area. He was quite an avid home brewer actually, and as is the case with a lot of craft brewers, you know, they are home brewers turned professional. But the brewery is based in the Hogwood Park industrial estate in the town, and they currently have a 5 BBL kit which they started operating in May 2016 after they were granted their licenses. But after their first kind of 8 months or so, they've produced around 30 different types of beer, and they're producing keg, cask and bottle beers. If you go and check out the Rate Beer page, it does seem that they just kind of brew a lot of one-off batch beers and just keep producing new things. So I guess this is going to be a really quite exciting brewery. From what, as far as I could figure, and the website wasn't finished when I did check it out, but it does seem that they are going to be one of these breweries that kind of churn out a lot of different beers. So if you want to try quite a few different things and you're in the Berkshire area, I guess this is a brewery that you do want to keep an eye on. So definitely looking forward to trying this one. As I say, check out the brewery website and Facebook page and things in the description below, and you can learn a little bit more about Elusive Brewing. But let's actually get in and taste this beer itself. So like I told you, this one is a 3.7% ABV Belgian pale ale. Tells you a little bit on the side here. It says this one is a Belgian style ale made with English malts, German and Australian hops and Belgian yeast, which slide together seamlessly to create a beer of a truly international nature. No need to wave flags or act like a buffoon, just pour carefully into your favourite glass and enjoy. Maybe leave the TV off though. Best served chilled, pour carefully to leave the sediment in the bottle. So don't really see much sediment in the bottle, but we'll have a wee look at that when we pour it. But as you can see, the artwork of this one is pretty cool. You can see it's this kind of 8-bit style of artwork. There is a brewery in Australia, and I forget the name, there is a brewery in Australia that use similar artwork to this, and I do really like it. You can see Boris Johnson there just turning into the Terminator of course, which is quite cool. Obviously a reference to the whole kind of Brexit fiasco that's going on politically at the moment. There you can see on the back, there is the Elusive Brewing symbol there. That's actually quite nicely presented. I do wonder if the barrel of course is a kind of reference to Donkey Kong. It probably is of course, but I do like I do like how that's done, quite retro and some quite nice artwork. Plain bottle cap as you saw, but let's get this guy out and we'll get on with the tasting then. Oh, that's going to go a little bit crazy I think. There we are. Should be alright. There you are. That's one of the things you always have to be careful a little bit when I guess when Belgian yeast is involved. It can go just a little bit crazy like that, but we'll pour it slowly and see how we get on, because this should settle down quite nicely. But a very nice looking beer. We'll just pour a little bit of it and let the head go down actually. This is always one of the problems you can get when it comes to beer reviews actually. When you're filming them, you can get beers that go a little bit crazy like this. Okay guys, welcome back. I thought since the beer kind of exploded a little bit, I thought it was best just to pour the beer out, let it settle, and then continue the review. Unfortunately, that's something that happens when you're reviewing beer, but you just need to get on and deal with it. But as you can see, this beer has poured a really nice kind of rich kind of orange amber colour. This one, it is really nice looking. As you saw, there was a huge white head on this one. I think it's fair to say that the head is kind of pure, kind of creamy white. It looks very nice. If I put my fingers behind the glass, you can see this beer is pretty much completely opaque. It almost looks just like pineapple juice or kind of tropical fruit juice or something like that. There's a few big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, but quite a few little ones just going up towards the bottom of that head there. But overall, it looks really quite nice. It actually does look really close to one of these New England style IPAs rather than a Belgian beer, to be honest. In terms of the colour, it's a bit richer in colour than normally you'd expect of some of these Belgian beers, but it looks very nice. And you know, the aroma, you can just smell the big Belgian-y esters and some of the fruity character of this one as you move it around. But let's have a closer look at that aroma now and see how we get on. So yeah, as you would expect, there's a really nice kind of big Belgian bready yeast to this one. You've got that nice doughy yeasty character to this beer. A little bit of almost wheaty character coming out of this one as well. But there's some nice fruits in there. You know, from the German hops in this beer, you've got a little bit of the kind of noble character, a little bit of grassy note, a little bit of floral character. But then it's the fruits from the Australian hops that are coming out quite nicely. You can smell a little bit of a sort of peachy or apricot-y note from this beer. Maybe a little bit of lighter citrus as well. But some interesting things going on. You know, it's got everything you would kind of expect from a Belgian pale ale, and it's quite interesting because at 3.7% it is quite light in terms of alcohol for a Belgian style beer, but they've done it really nicely. I always like the Belgian IPAs. You know, they take the American or the Australian, the New Zealand hops and just put it with that big Belgian bready base. I always love this style of beer. But just take a little bit of time and enjoy the aroma of this one before you get stuck in. It's got that typical big Belgian bready yeasty base and the lovely kind of fruity hops on the top of this one. As I say, it's peaches and apricots, a little bit of citrus coming out for me. Then you've got the grassy and floral character at the background from the German noble hops. So let's give this one a go then. So this one is the Plan B with Boris Johnson turning into the Terminator from Elusive Brewing down in Finchampstead in Berkshire in England. Slàinte. Pretty nice actually. It definitely leans, it really does lean more towards the malty side of things, this one, which is quite different from the Belgian IPAs I've tried in the past. Normally they start off big and bready and then just move quite heavily into the hoppy side of things. The hops on this one are a little bit more subtle and quite interesting. So as I always say, sugar the beer around your palate in this one and just let your whole mouth adjust. That's always a good way to taste beer, of course. But the hoppy character actually starts off kind of bitter in the beginning, and then it just kind of smooths out a little bit, and then that hoppy bitterness just arises again as you move further into the aftertaste. You have to take 1 or 2 sips of this beer, I think, to really get the hoppy side of things that's going on. But yeah, in the middle of your palate you've got that nice kind of bready malt base there. You've got that thicker sort of Belgian doughy yeasty character coming out just on top of that. A little bit of wheatiness and maybe some kind of clovey spice to the beer, of course. Not sure if it's quite peppery, but definitely big doughy bready character with some wheat and clovey notes to the beer. But yeah, that's quite nice. It really does take your mouth just a few sips to properly adjust to this beer and get exactly what's going on. So in the back corners of the palate from the hops, I'm getting a little bit of earthiness coming out of the beer in this one. You can feel just a little bit of that earthy character there. That'll be the German noble hops coming out, and as you come further forward you get a little bit more of a sort of floral character to the beer. You can feel that sort of light German floral note coming out of the beer, and as you go further around the front curve of the palate, it actually comes across as a bit more sort of resinous, and maybe that's the Australian hops coming out of the beer. You can really feel that slightly more strong, spicy floral character, maybe even resinous note coming out around the front curve of the palate. And that's quite interesting because normally you get the sort of darker and spicy floral aromatics around the sides of your palate than around the very front curve of your tongue. It's really quite nicely done, this beer. The fruity side of the beer is quite interesting as well. So if you just go behind the front curve of your palate, for me, it's actually coming across as a bit of a kind of lemony sherbet citrus actually. So you'll feel the fruity characters just coming out in that little oily bubble behind the front curve of your tongue. As I said, it's a sort of lemon sherbety character that's coming across in this one for me, and I'm actually finding that as the flavour progresses in this beer, you get a little bit more of a kind of toasted, bready, grainy sort of thing going on in the malt base. You can just feel that pushing its way forward underneath that sort of lemon sherbety character, and as you move further into the aftertaste, I'm getting a little bit more of the tropical notes that you would expect from the hopsiness. So I do wonder if it's Galaxy or if it's Victoria's Secret or exactly what they've used in this beer. It's quite interesting. I think it's maybe more likely to be Ella or Galaxy or something like that, just because of the fruity character that's coming out of the beer. But it's nicely done, this one. I wouldn't hesitate to drink it again. I'd love to actually try it on cask and just see what it's like with the kind of, with a bit less of the carbonation and the slightly thicker mouthfeel, because you can, with this one, in some ways you get the kind of, even though it's only 3.7%, you do feel a little bit of the alcohol warmth from it, but the malt base isn't quite as sweet as you would normally get from the sort of higher ABV beer. That's the thing that really gives it away as being one of the lower alcohol content beers for me, but at the same time it's full of flavour, so you can't really complain. And I guess when it comes to Belgian beers, that is one of the downfalls of them. They're absolutely lovely, but you know, after one, you know, you can't really do anything. For me, I always say that Belgian beers are taster beers rather than session beers, but this one kind of solves that problem, I guess you would say. But certainly a nice beer. In terms of the mouthfeel of this one, I'd say this is kind of mid-bodied, and I think it's a little bit lighter than you'd normally get from the Belgian beer, and again, that's because of the lower alcohol content in the beer. You don't get the same sweetness and big thick boozy character from the malt base in this one. So the malt base in this beer is really quite smooth. There's not that much in the way of sweetness from it. Like I was saying, I'm getting a little bit of a kind of almost toasted, sort of grainy character from it. As you move later on into the beer, you get some of the hoppy bitterness. There's a little bit of fruity, juicy character coming out of the beer as well, and just a little bit of a kind of hoppy bitterness moving in to the aftertaste. There's a little bit of smoothness in the back sides of the palate, but overall it's got a good balance between kind of smooth malts and hoppy bitterness, but it does lean slightly more towards that hoppy bitter side of things and fruity, juicy character. But overall, pardon me, it is a really quite nice beer. So if you get the chance to try this one, I do recommend that you do. And on the basis of this beer, you know, this is my very first time trying one of the beers. If they're producing beers like this, you know, give them a bit of time. I think this brewery will do pretty well if they keep up this approach to their beers. So yeah, keep a lookout for Elusive Brewing. On the basis of this beer, they're producing some really quite nice stuff. They are quite prolific from what I gather, so just kind of, if you see their beers, just pick up a style, pick a style you enjoy, and just see how you get on with it. But hopefully I can review some more of their beers for you in the fairly near future. But it's always cool to try new beers from new breweries, and I wish them all the best. So yeah, as always, thank you for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, do let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. Do consider subscribing to the channel if you've enjoyed my beer review as well. Thank you for watching, and I will catch you very soon with more beer reviews, and hopefully we can return to Elusive Brewing in the fairly near future. I'm sure they'll do quite well for themselves. Slange just now, and I'll catch you guys very soon. Cheers.